Sometimes this world starts breaking me down. I get so lost, I think I'll never be found.
We see in Acts chapter 5, verse 20, the apostles are told to go stand in the temple courts and talk about Christ. A few chapters later, Philip is told to go down to the road that leads from Jerusalem to Gaza. That's in Acts chapter 8, verse 26. A few verses later, in verse 29, he's told to go stand next to this chariot where the eunuch is standing there reading. Next chapter, in chapter 9, verse 6, Saul, he's struck blind and he's told to go into the city. And you'll see what will happen there. In the city, there's already a guy named Ananias. And in verse 15, he's told to go to this guy named Saul. Acts chapter 10, verse 20, Peter is told to go with these Gentiles that are about to show up at his door to see a guy whose name is Cornelius. And finally, in Acts chapter 22, Paul talks about in verse 21 where he was told to go to the Gentiles. Following Christ is not about being stagnant. It's about moving forward. It's about going. Go, do, go, grow, go, be. It's about doing physically and also spiritually. The last verses that Matthew records Jesus saying, I want to read those. In Matthew chapter 28, I want to read starting in verse 18. Then Jesus came to them and said, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. He says, go. Go make disciples. Go make followers. Go make those that are going to come after me. He doesn't say go sit in a chair on Sunday morning and listen to a sermon. He says, go and live what you hear. Go and live the life. He says, it's not about coming and just sitting in a class and having a good discussion. Or maybe a small group, but it's about going and living. Prayer is important, but it doesn't stop there. We need to act on that prayer. I think it's pretty clear what I'm trying to get across here. The idea of going and doing. Many of you may be aware and familiar with the story of the little red hen. If not, you can Google it. She collects the stuff and wants to make bread and says, hey, who's going to help me? And no one wants to help her. Collect the stuff, no one wants to help her bake the bread. But when the bread is made, they all want to come and eat of it. See, we all kind of want that end product. We want that enthusiastic, growing, upbeat, dynamic congregation. But we're sometimes less enthusiastic about putting the work into it we need to get there. I've known for years people say, oh, I'd like to be like a large church in the South, or I'd like to be like this large church over there. We can, but we've got to go. We've got to do. It starts with that prayer. God, how do you need me? God, what do I need to do? Just going before God, lead me, God, to be what I need to be. Over the next few weeks, we're going to look at some different people that went. They did. This week, I ask you to pray. Pray these two prayers. God, where do you need me? Think about that. Where do you need me? Whose life do you need me in? God, where do you need me? The second part of that, God, what do you need me to do? What do you need me to be for you? Help me, God. Help me to go. Help me to be. Help me to live out the life that was given for me.
Words are true. Doesn't matter where I'm going. If I'm going with you, I press on. 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 And I still don't get it. Life goes on, but your love will prove. All I need